Do all Teslas have their stuff over here on the screen instead of like your speed and all that stuff?
Yep. Well, the Model S and X, they actually have a digital display in front of the wheel. But the 3 and the Y have always come with this. So you have your speed, your battery, your navigation, all of your other controls, air conditioning, music and such, energy efficiency. It's all really good software. Might seem a little crazy at first, but then you realize that it doesn't really get much simpler than that. You don't have a million buttons and gadgets and everything. It's all right here. Most of it, which can be accessed through the voice command.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ever been in a Tesla?
No.
I have for just a minute or two.
I gotta give you a little initiation.
That is cool.
Gotta show you what it means to be electric. Because so many people have it in their heads that, like a Prius or something, it's just a slow little box of a vehicle. I have to keep it in chill mode because there's so much G-force from the power that it's really not fair to people that aren't used to it. Because I got used to it early on, and I would go through a corner way more intense than the average person's probably ready for. And I was like, let's literally chill. Throttle this back a little bit. Because you just have instantaneous response under your foot. And that does take some getting used to, but here on chill mode you can feel it's a lot more gradual. It'll still get up to speed pretty quick, but without that like throwing you in your seat sort of sensation. And now that we're out of that weird road, we can utilize the self-driving. This is all the car now, stopping at the light and everything.
It even stops at the red light.
Oh yeah. Yeah, while the steering wheel and this line here is in blue, that's how you can tell that it's in autonomous or in its self-driving mode. If I hit the brake and take over, it grays out. And they're even asking me what happened, but I don't need to tell them anything just because I'm showing you. So I can report back to Tesla if it does something weird, and they can take that as part of their iteration process to make it better. When we get updates every couple of weeks or so, depending on how much data they're getting or how fast they can push it out. It's really crazy to watch it change over time and see how it either improves or maybe sometimes goes the other way.
Yeah.
Gets worse. It's the nature of software. It's slowing down because of this cyclist it sees. It was being a little extra cautious.
That's cool.
That is so weird.
Yeah, I've got over 600 hours on the city street side. Total, altogether, probably 1,500 hours on the system, so I'm really well in tune with it. Like, I know most of what it's doing. I can tell you why. People. You can even see a second there, it highlighted them in blue because it's like, I see you. If it highlights it in blue, it's typically paying special attention to that thing, whether it's a car or a person. And here it's deciding to go right on red once it's clear. Little rocky, but there it goes.
That is so cool, though.
That is freaky.
Isn't it?
And I thought I was riding high with mine that just stayed in between the lines when I was on the freeway.
Yep. We'll see how it handles this sharp apex, because sometimes it waits a little while. There you go. Okay, that's good. That's better. Sometimes it would start braking like now, and I wouldn't usually take customers through this corner because I know a lot of the areas where it's been notoriously rocky, and I just won't subject you to that because why would I? There we
It's
go.
an amusement ride.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Want to make sure it's a safe one.
Yeah.
Most of my concerns with the system have been less around safety and more so just around it being reliable, like not missing its chance or because it's not aggressive enough getting over or something, and then we go on a wild goose chase. Because in the sense of being a taxi, it needs to be reliable. It needs to get you to your destination without wasting your time.
Yeah.
Like right now, it needs to choose to get over pretty quickly here. We're running out of road. Hopefully I don't have to take over. There you go. There you go. Do it, do it, do it. Get over. Way too close. But it did it.
Though, yeah.
With this update, actually... Oh, hey, electric truck. Sorry. I see a Rivian, I always get excited. And he's just gonna get right in front of us. Cool. That's fine. My car drives better than you do. Totally lost my train of thought there. So
if you're out on the highway, will it switch lanes?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does everything based on the route you're going, as well as some extra options. Like right now I have it selected for minimal lane change, which is a way to make it a bit more accurate. But if we get stuck in this lane too long, like I don't like that we're sitting in basically an exit lane, so I'll take that off. And now, yeah, it's already highlighting that car in blue because it wants to get out of this lane. So it has a type of speed-based lane changing priority built into it as well. So if we're going a lot slower than my set speed limit, it'll try to find that open lane. But the way it judges when it needs to do that is a little hit or miss. There are some occasions that I really like where it'll actually change into a central lane and say trying to get out of far right lane, which is good. You're like, I don't think you should sit in this lane like it is now, or in the passing lane. It should probably be in the middle too, and then pass or exit appropriately. Because I always get annoyed when someone's sitting in this on-ramp, off-ramp lane, and you might, hinder people trying to get on and off the highway.
Yeah.
I wonder if I put it into assertive mode, if it'll... The modes don't seem to have much of a difference, but, well, it also doesn't help when humans keep on changing their speeds.
Not all Teslas do this, though, right?
They all have the capability.
Oh, they do.
Yep. It's a matter of if you've paid for the full self-driving software. They come with basic autopilot, which is kind of like what you're used to, except I guess it can handle a little bit more because it can get on the brakes and throttle all the way down to 0, but in one lane. So basically everything you would do in one lane.
Is it'll go all the way down to 0.
Okay, yeah.
If it has to.
That comes with all Teslas. See, changing lane to get into faster lane. So now it's finally tired of being in the slow lane, I guess. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. Because we're going a lot slower than my set speed right now is about 75 miles an hour, 116 kilometers an hour. There we go. Finally in a good cruising lane here. But yeah, so I subscribe to the full self-driving, which when you subscribe to it, it's about $200 a month. To own it outright is, I think right now, $15,000, and that you get all future updates for free. And that's increased in price over time as more and more features have come out. When it first was released, it was like $3,000. So I can imagine the people who bought it then probably pretty happy.
Oh yeah.
If they kept the car, because that was long enough ago that, let's just say there wasn't a whole lot of faith that this would really get that good. So a lot of people sold out of those cars because for whatever reason, this is one of the only things that I dislike about Tesla. It doesn't stay with you. When you
with the car.
Yeah. Which is really, they're so software oriented and even account oriented that when I get into another Model 3, it has like my settings on a cloud. So like the next Model 3 will just set itself, mirrors and everything to my settings. And you have that level of like profile integration, but the self-driving doesn't stay with you, it stays with the car. Doesn't make any sense to me. Like if I spent $10,000 on your software, I expect it to go with me to the next Tesla. It makes a lot more sense for me though to just subscribe because I don't, well for one, I don't have $15,000 sitting around.
Yeah.
But also with Uber and Lyft, that self-driving is paid for in 2 or 3 days. Makes a lot of sense when you drive as much as I do. It's reacting to this Porsche as it got over. Oh, there's another cool EV. That's Kia's new EV6. Well, I guess it's been around for a little while now. A lot of the other car companies are stepping their game up and actually making things you want. And I'm a fan.
That is the weirdest thing.
I think it's cool.
It is cool, but it's just...
Wow. Sort of little decision there to say, nope, I'm going to go to this lane instead. When you've used the system as long as I have, it almost feels like when you get to know a friend or family member and you know their tics, like their moods and what they do.
Yeah.
It feels like it has a personality.
How long have you used it for?
Well, I've had this car since March of 2020, and I've been using the full self-driving probably 6 months after that, so quite a while. I've got nearly 2,000 total hours on the whole system, from the basic highway stuff to the advanced city stuff.
Okay.
So how is it to get into a car that doesn't have it after you get used to having it?
You feel spoiled, that's for sure. My main career now that I've had in the last year is a traveling mechanic, but my My transit van does not have any form of smart cruise control. So, and it's a kite when you're driving through Arizona or Nevada and the wind hits you and the thing just wants to keep on moving or going off the lane. And it definitely makes me appreciate the autopilot and such, especially for really long stints on the highway. The times that I have road tripped in this, I've been up to Eugene, Oregon. I've been out to Vegas a few times, hoping to take a trip out to Brownsville, Texas in the next couple of months. And the amount of stress relief that comes with the highway autopilot is something I never really thought would be that big of a factor. But you get back so much mental energy from not having to be so attentive. Like you can put in a podcast or an audiobook and still pay attention. You know, you definitely don't want to go to sleep or anything. But the fact that you can just kind of watch and supervise and actually kind of look around too and see things you've never really seen driving because you're so tunnel visioned, you find that you have a lot more energy throughout the trip.
Yeah, because I've noticed with my lane stuff and the stopping with my car when I get into, I work for the state where I'm from, when I get into their cars and they don't have to have that stuff, I have to like remember.
Yeah.
The car will not slow down when you approach that semi.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think one of the weirdest feelings for me, even aside from the autopilot, is just the fact that other vehicles don't have regenerative braking. So like in these vehicles, and pretty much any good EV, and even some hybrids, I believe, when you let off of the throttle, the electric motor actually slows you down. So you don't actually have to hit the brake pedal. You can, it's there, and it works very well, but I would say 99% of my braking is done just by letting my foot off the throttle, and it comes to a stop. And when you're so used to the sensation of the second you take your foot back that it's compensating with that slowdown, when you get into a car that doesn't do that, it feels like it's trying to kill you. Because it just like keeps going full speed and you're like, whoa, brakes. Like, what's going on here? I've got over 143,000 miles on this car, and I'm on my original brakes. They're probably about maybe midlife or still close to new, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Especially coming from having always been in the mechanic space, in the automotive space. Brakes lasting over 150,000 plus miles is not normal.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? So this is a really interesting way the lane kind of changes here. So it did it well, though. It probably would have been weirder if we were in the right lane, because the way those two roads come together. In the past, it's thrown the system off, so that was pretty good. Oh, and that's an aggressive lane change. I like it. You kind of have to be around Californians, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Turn your turn signal on out here. It tells everyone else to close the gap. You're like, wow, thanks, guys. That's great. What is etiquette? That doesn't exist on the road.
No, not here.
Nope. I mean, to be fair, not to pick on Californians too much, it's probably any really big city.
Yeah.
Because the drivers in Vegas are pretty horrible. Going through Phoenix is pretty bad. I'm around those areas a lot for work, and it's just, ugh. Makes me very excited about a future of autonomy. You know, get all the humans out of the driver's seat. Wouldn't have traffic anymore, wouldn't have road rage.
See, and it doesn't just measure the car in front, it measures the car in front of that one. And just not the car on.
It's even seeing this person walking over here.
Yeah, and the
the
car's turning
intersection.
in the intersection, and the car's in that lane over there.
Sees everything.
Yeah, so this is the BEV, or the bird's eye view, that's generated thanks to the 8 cameras that make up the occupancy network, like the visual space that it sees, and it's just representing that here. Even showing the different types of vehicles, cones, like bus versus car versus cyclist, little signs and such. It actually reads the speed limit signs and adjusts in real time.
Wow.
Eventually, it's supposed to be able to go as crazy as understanding gestures from like a crossing guard, like telling you to come or stop, all of that. And it functions just like we do. There's nothing pre-programmed. In fact, every time it drives, it's like it's doing it for the first time every time. Which is even crazier, because it's almost like, imagine if you were trying to drive around with dementia, and every time you got in the car, you didn't know what this road was.
Yeah.
But this car does, because it has a base, base principles or rule set, like a very simple idea of what to do in different areas and to do it well.
See, when the fire engine went by, it showed a school bus, and then it went to a semi, and then a
Yeah.
school bus. I wasn't quite
Yeah.
sure what it was.
Yeah, it is kind of reacting in real time, making constant adjustments, and I'm not sure how the neural nets are responding to like emergency vehicles. In the legacy code, or like the old code that got replaced in the last month or so, it would actually pop up a message saying slowing down for emergency lights or emergency vehicle
It
when
can
you're on
do
the
that
highway.
when the fire engine went by or the ambulance.
Yeah, I didn't notice any messages popping up on it, and I haven't really been in any direct scenarios where I would need to get over for it to react or to test that.
So they were far enough away that it might
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and they were oncoming instead
Yeah.
of.
especially with the median there and such. Yeah, I really wonder how the rules would differ there. Now, I got two different kind of arrival points between Lyft and should we just go straight through?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I will have to take over because Tesla's nav wants me to go through some alley over there. It's only off by about a block, but that'll happen sometimes where the maps don't agree.
Oh yeah. It's
They're like,
close.
oh, what?
Well, it's probably because the door. It's the motel here on the right,
Oh, the Ocean Park Inn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha, cool.
and so the entrance is actually kind of in the alley. So I'm wondering if that's why it was trying
If
to
you were
figure.
Could
going
be,
to
yeah.
The parking garage part.
Yeah, because then you can come out the alley and come out that way.
Yeah, this is a pretty common spot that I drop people because a lot of people are going to Shore Club or Ale House or something.
Yeah.
So aside from the drop-off point, it did the whole trip. I consider that's the first success of the night. The other two trips I did were kind of through downtown, and the system was not happy.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to enjoy it. A lot of people just get in and ride along and have no idea that it was even driving them around, which I think is kind of a testament to its ability.
Yeah.
That it just blends in a bit, but I do enjoy it. Thanks for letting me geek out with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Getting out's kind of funny. You got, if you remember, you hold the top button on the handle and push the door at the same time. Perfect.
Huh.
You got it.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Some fun customers and the first successful trip of the night. I do consider that a success. I know that we technically had to take over at that light there, but that was due to a navigational issue with the drop-off being off by a block. So I'm not going to fault the system for that. That was a success. Fortunately, it's one success out of 3 trips, so not off to a great start, but we'll see how the rest go. It looks like it's going to be a busy night, which is good. I will catch you guys in the next one.